Hi everyone, I'm Kaitlyn Pintarich from Berry Insurance. I'm here with Bob Simone from Better Living Real Estate. He is the broker owner and he's a local real estate agent here in Massachusetts. So Bob was hoping that you might be able to give us some tips for our viewers today.
Well, the first tip would be make sure you're ready to sell. So, selling is a process. It starts with a consultation with a good real estate brokerage. It then leads to planning the strategy of sale. So you're not just looking to put a sign on the ground and start getting people through the property. What you're really looking to do is find out how your property compares with others in the market through a good market analysis. We've got some of our clients that even work through the appraisal process with a licensed appraiser to determine that market value if they have a unique home. And then you start to look at things like staging, repairs, and how the property will make it through the entire process, not just the showing process, but we have also other parts of the process before we get to the closing. And the biggest two to look at are really home inspection and bank appraisal. So after the home inspection, if you have any items that you haven't repaired, if the property is not really in good shape, or if it's selling for a little bit higher price than the condition really warrants, a lot of those issues will be discovered by a licensed home inspector. Most buyers do have a home inspection, and that could come back and cause a renegotiation, which if you're prepared for as a seller, that's fine, but a lot of times I find that sellers really aren't interested in doing that. So preparing the seller and the property before you bring it to the market is a really essential part of the process.
Good. So we're getting into colder weather now, finally, in New England, and probably one of the things that homeowners might want to do before the inspection process happens is maybe service their heating equipment. Is that something you would recommend?
Yeah, so with Better Living Real Estate, one of the things that we do with all of our sellers is we do a full walkthrough with the property. We look at all of the systems that a home inspector might look at. Heating system is one of those systems. For the home buyers that we're working with that are interested in wondering if that air conditioning system is working. Unfortunately, in the colder weather, you can't test air conditioning systems simply because the air conditioner won't be able to compensate for the cold temperatures. So we have to look at asking the seller to provide history of service and any other information to prove that that system was working. But a heating system, obviously, you can turn that system on. So you want to look to make sure the system was serviced over the last 12 months at a minimum. You want to request service records, and you want to make sure there's even heating throughout the building. So those are some things that we look at in the pre-listing process, and certainly we want to be aware of that with our buyer clients as well as we're looking at properties that they may be interested in purchasing.
Good. Now, what about some of the more common questions when you're listing your home? Do you recommend that people clean out their home pictures? How about their holiday decorations or their fall decorations? What are your recommendations?
Right, those are all great things to consider. A lot of our clients will talk to us about the latest TV show they saw on HGTV and all of the tips that they received maybe online or from friends. There really isn't anything that they can do to replace experienced expert advice, and that's what we bring into the discussion. Some of our clients we start meeting with a year or two before they're thinking about selling so that they have time to budget any repairs, budget any upgrades, bring us in from time to time in a consultative manner to review the staging, review what photos that they should leave out, what furniture and rooms they need to lighten up, and how the property will photograph. So a key aspect of marketing the property is good photography. So our agents are specifically trained on understanding photography, photo editing, staging. We give extensive education on that because if you want to get top dollar for someone's home, you want to present it in its best light. So those are the things that we work with clients, like I said, sometimes a year or two before they move, to make sure that when we bring it into the market, we're bringing it in with great landscaping, great interior decorating, great interior staging, wonderful photography, and really presenting the home in a way that's going to make the majority of buyers desire to pay the price we're asking.
Good, that's wonderful. Now, and you touched on a good point too when you mentioned landscaping, because I think a lot of people, when they're talking about selling their home, they think about the interior and what they need to do on the inside of the home. But curb appeal is just as important when you're buying a house. So, what kind of recommendations do you tell your clients when it comes to the exterior of their home?
Well, any season that you're selling a home will present itself at the curb. So it doesn't matter whether you're looking at a home in the spring or in the winter, even with the snowfall, that initial impression is made at the curb. So what we're looking to do with all of our clients is make sure that as we approach the house as realtors, we're thinking of it from curb to front door, from front door to entry sequence, and then how we're going to bring the buyer through the property. So I've had people that have met with me in the fall, like we're discussing now, and they're looking at their shrubs and their trees, leaves have fallen off, maybe there's some shrubs that need to be pruned back, and they put on some nice fresh mulch in the spring, but that mulch isn't really looking in great shape now. Mulch is an important part of the landscape no matter what season you're in, making sure that you do a good fall cleanup and making sure that any dead trees or shrubs are pruned back. Those are the items that we look for as we're approaching the property. We want a nice, clean exterior. We want to make sure that if it needs a coat of paint, that we try to get that paint on there before we mark it. If we have damaged wood or damaged siding, we'll look to see if we can get those repaired. And if the repairs are outside of our client's budget, what we'll do is we'll work around those repairs or around those issues and factor them into the price of the home so that they don't become a deterrent. They just become another element that we're going to need to represent to a buyer and disclose and make sure that they don't come back to bite us at the home inspection.
Good. Another issue that I think a lot of homeowners probably wonder about is pets. What do they do with their pets when they have showings or listings in their home?
Well, there's a variety of solutions, and a lot of it depends on the pet, right? So most of the time, what people are concerned about are the well-being of their pets. If someone enters the property, how are people going to react to their pets? So, people generally think of pets being dogs and cats, but we also are dealing with reptiles, we're dealing with birds, we're even dealing with fish. And so we do talk to our clients about the pets and about accessibility to pets. And we also look at finding ways to have pets, if able, to be removed from the property during the showing period. So if you have a caged pet, such as a reptile or even a bird, that might be better to remove that pet from the property during showings or during open houses, or even maybe even during the entire process. So if you have a close friend or relative, maybe you relocate the pet there during that sale process. If you're dealing with dogs and cats, a lot of our clients will take those pets off property during showings. And what we'll look to do is we'll look to arrange showing times, block off specific times, so that the real estate showing process and sale process isn't completely disruptive to our clients' lives.
That's great.
Their homes don't need to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We can make blocks of time that our agents are available, that we notify buyers and other agents that the home will be available, and so that our clients can still live in their home and have it as a family home while we're doing the job of selling it.
That's wonderful. Now, what about lighting? Because I know we're into the fall season, daylight savings has happened, it's getting darker earlier. Do you make recommendations to your clients about increasing their lighting, both interior and exterior?
So we've made some adjustments as lighting diminishes. You'll find that most of our showings are moving from evenings to weekends and even during the day. We will do open houses on the weekends. We'll block off an hour and a half to 2 hours on the Saturday or Sunday. A lot of times what we'll do is try to time it around sporting events. The New England Patriots play in the fall, and the worst time to do an open house might be during a Patriots game.
Right.
So we actually look at a lot of factors when we start to put together our marketing plan, and that's the reason why I said all of our marketing is really custom built to the time of year, to the client's specific needs, to the property, to the location. If we're showing a property on a main road, high traffic location, we'll try not to show it during the rush hours.
Right.
If we're dealing with a property that's on a quiet side road, we'll have a little bit more flexibility. But ideally, you want to get a buyer through a property during daylight hours, not only so that they can see both the exterior and interior of the property, but it's also for safety. So we talk to our clients about insuring the property correctly when they're listing, working with their insurance agent during the listing and sale process to make sure they've got good liability insurance at the property, that they've attached any riders that they need to,
Yes.
and just to be thoughtful of the fact that they are letting the general public in their home. And despite the fact that we always have a licensed real estate agent present during that showing, we want to make sure that they understand that they are responsible for any trip hazards, any obstacles, or any damage that might happen. Those are items that we watch for, but they may also have some responsibility to a buyer who slips and falls, just like they would the person delivering a UPS package or a FedEx package. So working with their insurance agent together with their real estate agent is always a smart bet.
Good. And also probably some proper risk management techniques, like once we get into the winter and the snow comes, want to make sure that sidewalks are shoveled, walkways, driveways are shoveled, ice melt is down, all of those kinds of things to help prevent any slips and falls is also equally important. Now, as we're getting into the holiday season, what kind of recommendations do you make with your clients as far as holiday decor?
Well, there are people that celebrate holidays in a multitude of different ways. And remember, we're showing a home, we're not just showing a sterile building. And I think a lot of times when people are watching these TV shows and they're being entertained, they may get a certain perception of the best way to present a property.
Right.
And again, there's no replacing a professional with experience. Our brokerage has been in the business for over 30 years. We've sold properties for 30 Christmases and 30 Thanksgivings and more. So we understand that there's going to be holiday decoration, festivities, and again, these are family homes. So we do talk to our clients about the extent of decor for the holidays. We don't tell them to sterilize their home. We tell them to celebrate as they normally would and that they feel like they need to do to enjoy the holiday. And we'll work with them on showing times and on doing a safety check, walking through making sure that, if they are typically using, let's say, a glass ornament for a Christmas tree and it's at child level, that we maybe talk with them about removing those breakable ornaments and maybe having those higher and purchasing even temporarily a plastic ornament for the lower part. So we look at safety for the home, safety for our clients, but also safety for the visitors. And the people that we look at as potentially making a mess or some damage, oftentimes are children who
Right.
are visiting and maybe just grabbing that Christmas tree branch, and we want to make sure it's not going to fall. So these are some of the things we do talk about.
Good. That's excellent. Any other tips that you'd like to tell our viewers about how to prep their home?
So I would say that the first step is to connect with one or more agents for a good interview. Quite often I find that people that are looking to hire a real estate professional don't hire a real estate agent the same way they would with a doctor if they were looking to hire a physician for a major operation, or an attorney if they're looking at needing advice on a major legal case. Well, when you're selling a home in the greater Boston area and eastern Massachusetts, you're dealing with a property and part of your wealth portfolio that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't look at the resume of the real estate agent that's coming in and representing you, and if you don't specifically look at their experience and their process and compare that with others, what you might get is a really nice person that does real estate maybe part-time or is new to the business. But that person may not be trained and supported enough by their brokerage to maximize that person's sale price. And that could be the difference of $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in negotiation.
Wow.
Our agents are specifically trained on negotiating property. Whether you're a seller or a buyer, our agents are going to identify the negotiable aspects of the property. If you're a seller, they're going to defend your position in the negotiation to get you the highest price. If you're a buyer, they're going to know the areas of the home and the strategic aspects of the process to negotiate the lowest price and best terms. So no matter which way you're interacting with our brokerage, and really a lot of other good brokerages who have this type of training technique, you should look for someone with a great resume.
Good advice. Thank you so much, Bob, for sharing your tips.
Thank you very much.
If you have questions about how to prepare your insurance prior to the sale, be sure to give Berry Insurance a call. And if you're looking for a real estate brokerage that clearly knows what they're doing with a history of experience, be sure to call Bob and his team at Better Living Real Estate. And you can email you, Bob. Would you be the point of
Email
contact?
me. You can find our information at betterlivingra.com on the internet. And you can also find us on Facebook and all of your favorite social media places.
Good. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.